Notability is the main app that our students use to complete work. They can take their notes in Notability, they can complete worksheets in Notability. There's a lot of different options in Notability, and Notability is actually a very flexible application. But anytime that you want to provide work for your students to complete digitally, it's really Notability that students should be using. Now, some key information, very important about Notability. For students to be able to put work in Notability, that work has to be a PDF. So let's imagine that you have some work here in Google Docs that you want your students to complete in Notability. You will first need to go File, Download, and then download it as a PDF. I select Open. Now here it is as a PDF. I'm going to save it somewhere on my computer that is easy to find. Put it here on my desktop. Practice with Notability. Save. Now that is something that I could get to my students so that they can complete it in Notability. Similarly, if I have a Word document, so here's the same document, but now it's in Microsoft Word, I'll do a File, Save As, and then down here where it says File Format, right now it's saving as a Word document. I'm going to go to my arrow and I'm going to select PDF as the version that I'm going to save it as, and I'm going to hit the Export button. So that is exporting this Word document as a PDF so that my students will be able to complete it. So good news is if you're scanning in anything from a textbook, that scanned image is going to automatically be a PDF. But if you have any Word documents or Google Docs, just make sure you export those as PDFs so that your students can complete them. Now, let's talk about how to get that work to your students. So here I am in my Schoology course. I'm going to add a folder. I usually like to use dates on my folder, so I might call this, I don't know, September 15th. I'll hit create. Everything that I create goes down to the bottom. I'm going to click into that. Now, I can add a material, add file, and then select File and select my PDF by attaching a file. However, my students would be able to get that into Notability, but they wouldn't have a way of getting it back to me. There's nowhere for them to submit it. So the best thing to do is go Add Materials, Add Assignment, and then best practice is to name this assignment the exact same name as the PDF itself. So I called the PDF Practice with Notability, so I'm going to name the assignment Practice with Notability, and that's just going to make it really easy for my students to figure out where they're going to submit work to. So now I have this name of this assignment. Now I need to attach that PDF to the assignment. So I'm going to do that by going down to the bottom left of that big white box, and this is my Attach File button. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to go to my desktop because that's where I saved the PDF, and then I'm going to select the Practice with Notability PDF. Down below here I have some other options to fill in. I'm going to ignore this Google Drive assignment. For due date, if you indicated due date, it's really great because it'll show you which students turned work in on time and which students turned in work late. So here is an assignment, and here's what the submissions look like when students turn work in, and we can see that I have nice green on times for all of these students. They all turned their work in on time. Had they not, I would have a big red late next to their name instead, which is just a nice way to keep myself organized. So if I want to put a due date, I can, but that is optional. What is not optional is the category, meaning is it going to be something that is graded? If so, is it formative or summative? So I could simply put it as ungraded, and I definitely recommend putting it to ungraded if it is something that you do not intend to grade. Otherwise, it'll kind of clutter up the area in Schoology that notifies you about work that needs to be graded. But we can also do this create new grading category, type in formative, and then from there we are ready to create this assignment. So this is what it'll look like from your end. Practice with Notability. The PDF is attached. Right now we do not have any submissions. 0 of our 92 students have made submissions, but this is what it's going to look like from your end. Once students complete work, you'll be able to click on their name. You'll be able to see what they did. If you have it set to grade, you can give them a grade in the upper right. You can leave them feedback. And using these arrows, you can move between each student's submission. Okay, so that is what using Notability will look like from the teacher end. Again, the key pieces of information here, make sure that you're saving the file as a PDF so that students will be able to open it in Notability. They cannot open Google Docs in Notability. They cannot open Word Docs in Notability. It has to be a PDF. And then make sure that you are adding an assignment within Schoology from the add materials. And that way students will be able to actually submit that work back to you. Again, the best practice is to name the assignment the exact same name as the name of the PDF so that students know exactly where to submit their work.